Hey guys, what's up? Jess here. I want to talk about what's happened with my job now that got some better recording equipment. As you may or may not know, a lot of people at our store, Scottsdale Fashion Square, got let go, including myself, and I think the whole thing was fucked up. So let me make this very clear. This was not about unemployment. This was not about anything. This was about working your way up and constantly getting knocked down. So let me first talk about what had happened. I was a VSO at Scottsdale Fashion Square. A VSO is a visual security officer. Basically, I'm there to make the presence known to deter shoplifters. If I see any suspicious behaviors, I report it to detectives. I was considered one of the best VSOs in the district. I had started out with Macy's 7 years ago as a sales associate. I was the top credit producer in the store for 2.5 years. I was also top in my client for a generalized selling area that was non-commissioned. I was also recognized districtly, not once but twice to my calls to 7911, so meaning tips that I provided to our AP department. Those tips led to the arrest and stops of over 20 people. And as a VSO, a visual security officer, I had made an additional 12 tips that led to the arrest of over 12 people. Now, I want to talk about what transpired within the last year. I had been trying to get into asset protection now for the last 3 years. And I had tried several times to become a VSO. The second attempt was successful. And during that time, this was all in hopes. I did all of this working overnights, not getting an increase in pay. I did all of this in the hopes of being able to be a detective, to work my way up to that. So 3 months into the job, they're telling me they don't know. I was from September to February. They didn't know. They told me they didn't know what was going to happen to me when the fiscal year ended. So that kind of kept me on pins and needles. I'm like, how do you guys not know where I'm going? I'm stressed out. I reached out to a bunch of you about it. You had seen my frustrations and you'd seen my stress about it. Even though I was a top performer for this particular job, I far exceeded the expectations. And like I said, it's tough being on pins and needles for 6 months, not knowing where you're going to go or if you're even going to have a job. So all of that happened, pins and needles, and at the very last minute, I'm told, oh, they approved for you to be on the budget for this year. And I said, what does that mean? He says, well, you get to stay on. Huge sigh of relief, a huge sigh of relief. Finally, after all of this time, I finally got my foot in the door. But for some reason, they did not want to make me a detective. And I pressed Leilani on it multiple times. And all she had to say was, there were no openings. They hired an entire team at Chandler. They had hired multiple people at Arrowhead. One person while I was working as VSO at Arrowhead. And then earlier that year, they had hired somebody at Biltmore. There were several openings. And then the whole mysterious thing with what happened when Colton left. When he left, I thought there was going to be an opening, and then it went from a part-time opening to no opening. But yet they were able to slate me into a VSO role. They were able to create a position for me, but they would not make me a detective because VSOs essentially do not exist in the stores at the store level that we're at. You'd have to go to Vegas, New York, some of the flagship stores to even see a VSO. So I was always scratching my head about that, and I was never given any negative feedback. I was just told there were no openings. So not even a month within, the store shuts down. Pretty much all of us get furloughed for 2-3 months, however long that is. So then, I believe it's like in early May, I get an email from Dawn. Even though Leilani had my email, I had given it to her because I had to pick up my stuff, and I said, hey, if there's anything you need to let us know about, email me. Here's my email address. She had it. So I get an email from Dawn, and Dawn says, hey, Leilani needs you to call her ASAP. I'm like, that doesn't sound good. I know it's not good. And Dawn knows I don't have a phone. I don't know why, they want me to call when I don't have a phone. So I email Leilani. She wants me to come down to the store. I don't know why she couldn't have emailed what we discussed. It wasn't a lot. So I drove down to the store, which took me about an hour. And I'm thinking, oh no, this is not good. I'm either going to be taken out of the VSO position or laid off entirely. Or I thought, they were probably just going to ask me to temporarily work in fulfillment or sales because the store was so short-staffed and they were overloaded with fulfillment. But I go in and I talk to her, and that's not the case. She tells me, and I'm under the impression, I was under the impression the whole time, and I was betting on it just being brought back from furlough at a later date. And that's what they kind of put me under the impression of, based on all of the facts, the time that I was let go, everything. So she tells me, well, I can only bring back 2 detectives right now. I can't bring my VSO back from furlough right now. But we have an opening for basically a janitor position, or what's called touch point cleaning. And I told her I was going to think about it. I didn't want to show my frustrations, but I told her I was going to think about it. But the fact that they didn't even offer me to go back into the sales floor after everything that I've done over the last 4 years, this was devastating. And it was an insult to go from a respected position as in loss prevention to a janitor. I mean, it wasn't right. So I told her I'd think about it. I was under the impression, because I very specifically asked, I said, what happens if I go into this position? Is the VSO going to go away altogether? Because that's what you said would happen. If I quit or I went to another department, you wouldn't be able to replace me with somebody else. She says, I don't know. And even after everything happened and I told Dawn about my frustrations, he's like, oh, no. It seemed like everything was going to be okay. And he said, oh, when this opens up again, she's going to put you back in it. She wants you. So they made it seem like this was just going to be something where I'd be brought back in furlough in maybe July or August or something, a couple months. But that wasn't the case. So I was so upset, and you guys know what happened. I told a few of you guys about it. I don't want to go into details, but, I kind of broke down over it. And so after that, a few weeks later, all this unrest happens over George Floyd. All the looting. Our mall got looted, it was bad. All the high-end stores were broken into. Macy's was broken into. They don't want to talk about that. And then you hear about the guy in Michigan, the Macy's sales manager, that was violently attacked by a man for no reason, because he thought he misheard him saying something. And they don't add extra security. They don't bring me back. But what they do want to do is, even though Leilani, during our conversation, said that there were no hours for the store, they were able to pull hours out of their ass like a rabbit out of a hat and say, oh, if you want to come back to sales, you can do that. Well, why didn't you offer that to me in the beginning? And why am I being displaced to begin with? So I was so upset, I said nothing. And I was more upset that they didn't ask me to come back as security because of all the tension, all the violence, the fact that we got looted. I was amazed. And they kept me on furlough, even though they said, well, if they call you back twice, they have to resign you. And that never happened, because on June 25th, I get an email saying that my position's terminated, just as the same as everyone else that got let go. I was told I'd be getting a severance offer the following day. I got a copy of that severance offer, which they only offered me 5 weeks of pay when it should have been 7, because I'd been with the company 7 years. And the packet said that you would be mailed the actual severance packet to sign and return on the 15th, no later than that. 15th comes by, I don't hear a dang thing. But I sure as do hear from Leilani about the key. Oh, I need you to bring back the key, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm already upset. You just emailed me. By the way, you emailed me 2 days, and this is how I know I wasn't let go. I wasn't fired. You emailed me 2 days ago, before I got the email about termination. You emailed me asking if everything was okay and if I needed anything. There were resources through Macy's, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 days later, I get let go, and you don't make any mention of it. That's wrong. So I mailed the key out. I just slapped it in an envelope, and I did it on my time. I'm not doing it on their convenience. This is my time. You've taken 7 years of my life away, so, mailed the key. Still have yet to hear anything from the severance package. So I guess that was just Macy's one last attempt to try to screw me over. But the fact of this is, folks, is that this was not about not going back to work because of unemployment. This was about me working for something for 3 years, more than that, just to have it taken away. And I can honestly say every elevated position that I've been in has been taken away because of cuts. 2014, the hotel handler position, that was eliminated a month later because of restructuring. I was promoted to the Buffalo specialist the following year. That was stripped away along with everybody else's title in 2018 because of restructuring. And now this job with the VSL that I had tried to get in not once but twice. And here's the kicker. Every store right now has an opening for a loss prevention detective. But do you think Leilani would call me and say, hey, we need you? That's what it's about. Because if I got that call and Leilani said, hey, I need you back on the floor. I need you to put on the jacket, put on the radio. I'd be there tomorrow. That's what it's about, folks. That's what it's about. It's about being able to work for something. Now, if you told me that, I'd be back tomorrow. But I'm not going to come back when you're offering me less hours, less pay, and taking away something that I worked for a long time. And I've seen this happen with not only myself, but other people and everybody else that's been let go. It's really awful. And I've seen things worse than what I've had to go through. But this is wrong. And what broke the camel's back is you sit there and you see them lie and say that they let go 3,900 back house and management. And that's not true. They let go sales associates. And then a week later, they get a raise, the top 5 executives, $9 million in bonuses divvied up. Who thought of that? It's crazy. But that's what this is about. This is about working for something, being able to achieve your dreams, because this is something that I vehemently and passionately wanted to do. And they just took it away, and they didn't care. So that's what I want to tell everybody today. That's what I want to get out. It's not about staying at home. It's about doing what you want to do in life. And it doesn't matter what is going on in the world right now. That doesn't dictate what you want to do with your life. It doesn't matter if the whole world's going underwater or if there's a pandemic. You have to be able to work for your goals. And that's what it's about. And I just want to make that clear with everyone so everybody understands. And it's not right what they did to other people. So that's what I want to get out, and I hope everybody understands that. But that's the update with my job. If they called me back and asked to put the jacket on, I'd be down there like Superman. But I don't think that's going to happen. And it's just crazy that you look online and they need a detective in every other store. So it doesn't make sense. But, it is what it is. It's sad how everything turned out. Hopefully we get through all of this. But I just wanted to update everybody with what was going on.